Can AI read your mind? Yes? Take a look at this video.
This is Pager. He's a 9-year-old macaque who had a Neuralink placed in each side of his brain about 6 weeks ago. He's learnt to interact with a computer for a tasty banana smoothie delivered through a straw. As he's playing this game, we're wirelessly streaming, in real time, the firing rates from thousands of neurons to a computer. Using these data, we calibrate the decoder by mathematically modeling the relationship between patterns of neural activity and the different joystick movements they produce. After only a few minutes of calibration, we can use the output from the decoder to move the cursor instead of the joystick. Pager still moves the joystick out of habit, but as you can see, it's unplugged. He's controlling the cursor entirely with decoded neural activity.
Pretty insane, isn't it? Let's try to understand exactly what the hell happened in that video. So Neuralink, it's a company founded by Elon Musk. What they do is research on brain-computer interfaces. What does it mean? They basically stick some electrodes into animals' brains, someday even humans, and they use these sensors to read electrical activity in the brain. So what you've seen in the first part of the video is that Neuralink is collecting data from the brain of the monkey and data from the joystick. So they have these two pieces of information: brain activity data and the output of all this brain activity, which is the movements of the joystick. Then they train a decoder, which is nothing more than a machine learning algorithm that learns the mapping between the two. So it learns basically to predict what kind of neural activity produces what kind of movement with the right hand of the monkey. This means, in other words, that the computer has learned to read the mind of the monkey. It has learned what the monkey is thinking when specific neurons fire in its brain. This is not the first time that someone is capable of reading brain's data and interpreting what the hell this animal is thinking. There are already prototypes of the same kind of technology working for humans. So why is this a big piece of news? Well, first of all, because Elon Musk has made it. Everything that Elon Musk does, everybody just gets crazy. But there are actually some really big technological advancements. Number one is that this thing here has been implanted by a robot. This is one of the main innovations of Neuralink. They made it super reliable and cheap and quick to put sensors inside a brain. And this is, of course, very important, because if we want to imagine a world where everyone can have all these sensors installed, well, it's very important that the process to install them is safe, cheap, and reliable. And it's a great step forward. Second thing that you have to think about is that all these sensors are wireless. So they are streaming data using some kind of low energy Bluetooth up to anything, even potentially an iPhone. They actually showed that you can use an iPhone to start reading the data from these sensors. And this is also massive if we want to think about a world where our brains are just very quickly plugged into any sort of computer. Because yes, your phone is a computer in the end. The big question is, what the hell are we going to do with this? What are we going to do if we can imagine putting one of these things into a human brain? Neuralink is pitching as a first application the opportunity of giving disabled people the capability of moving, because they could potentially control robotic arms to grab objects, robotic legs to walk, etc., etc. And this, of course, is nice, because it's very nice to think about disabled people being able to walk or move again. They're also talking, though, about the opportunity of enhancing humans. They're not saying exactly what they mean by that, but imagine if you could control a robotic arm that is somewhere in another room. Or imagine if you could add a third arm that is robotic and you can control that as well. You will have 3 arms, or maybe 4, or maybe 5. And imagine if this robotic arm is extremely powerful. Well, then you could potentially think about a lot of dystopian futures where humans can, watch any movie, watch Terminator, watch whatever. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And this is scary as heck. There's also another potentially really dangerous application of this technology. So far, we've seen just a demo of a read functionality of Neuralink, which means that they were able to read information from the brain of the monkey, but they were not able to write anything in. What if they're going to develop a technology that allows them to actually write stuff into a brain? Well, it gets pretty freaking creepy really fast. Imagine if you could write into a brain happiness whenever you watch an ad or whenever you experience some food. You could do so many super wrong things. So it's very important to try to find a path for the development of this technology that is ethical. Because once you put chips into people's brains, it's pretty hard to turn them off and take them away. So what is my stand on this? It's pretty cool, very interesting. From a technology point of view, it's very fascinating, but there are so many ways this can go wrong. So it's very important that ethics are going to drive the development of this technology. This is one of the cases where the classic Facebook mindset of move fast and break things cannot be tolerated. Please move slow, because any mistake going forward could potentially be a really big problem for humanity as a whole.